Oh yeah.
Hey.
Woo! Pumped up.
Woo-hoo.
Pumped up.
Ready to rumble.
Yeah. Woo!
All right.
Flexing. The music's got me flexing. The intro's got me flexing. Both of these
I'm
movies
pumped.
got me flexing.
You got to do Jackie Chan Kung Fu though, which is
That's it.
no muscles, just.
Or the Chu Ling one.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little bit of this. Maybe a little bit of this, maybe.
Next week. Oh, there you go. Excellent.
What is going on, Movie Dojo Army? Everybody in the house. People are showing up right now watching. Who do we got in the house today? We got Kevin Lambert in the house. Jake Hall, Megan, 32, Azza. That's right. I Love Food, 154, Phat. Everybody's showing up slowly but surely, creeping in like badass ninjas. We're here to have fun, talk about all of the badassity that abounds with martial arts action genre. That's right, we are here to represent two titans, that's right, of Jackie Chan's filmography. That's right, Project A versus Police Story today on this episode of Versus. And as always, we got Kyle Wong in the house. That's right, filmmaker, martial artist Kyle Wong. We got Eric, Asian movie enthusiast. That's right, baby. Representing, he is here. And we got always the legendary Rick Myers in the house. This is his second home. That's right. And of course, first time. That's right, first time on the show today on the podcast. We have the legendary Frank Jang. What's going on, my friend? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. That's right. There you go. That's right.
Frank's responsibilities are not covered. Come on.
There you go. Boom.
As we learn.
There it is. There you go. There you go.
You have to keep it open. We're fighting.
But thanks again, Frank, for being here. I mean, you've been around.
Pleasure.
You know, he is a legend within the industry. You know, former marketing manager of Tai Sang, and me and Eric, I'm sure Kyle, we've all bought. We have a plethora of Tai Sang DVDs.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. We had to represent. And thank you for all your hard work and what you've done in the past, and we appreciate you being here. And now you're just second life in your career right now. Just killing it with all these badass audio commentaries. I do have the Eureka Blu-ray release set of Project A 1 and 2. Phenomenal set. Make sure you guys get an all-region player to watch those. But yeah, I just recently bought Throwdown, Frank.
Oh,
so I heard that was really good. I have not seen it yet. I heard that was really good, and your commentary is on there, so I can't wait to hear that. But we have legends within the industry are here tonight to talk about two legendary films. Now, this was like this was Rick's idea, and I was just like, man, this is a good one, because sometimes the best versus episodes are the hardest, because when you're like, I can't choose, like, this is so hard to do, which makes some of the best versus episodes. So right now, Samurai, go. Just go. You're forced to do it right now. Top 5 Jackie Chan movies. I would probably put most likely Police Story and Project A in there if I had to make a top 5 list right now. I mean, I love both of these films, but each movie.
If you didn't do that, you'd have to take it up with me. I'd fight you.
Kung Fu Santa. Kung Fu Santa take me out. That'd be a bad day for Samurai.
Take you out, and then also you won't get a gift.
Right? Look at that Police Story fig right there. That's what I'm talking about. I want a Police Story fig. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Both films, action-packed, stunts crazy, comedy. This is going to be tough. So, but we have to choose a winner. So how does it work here, Frank, on Versus? Is that we'll go around here. We'll start with me. We'll go this way to you. We'll end with you, and then what we'll do is we just talk about the positives and negatives of each movie, and then at the end we all vote for today's winner. All right. So let's go ahead and set the scene here. Police Story. Actually, let's go ahead and start with Project A. I forgot how old this movie was. 1983. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I thought this was like 1986 or something.
No, 38 years, man.
I was like, wow, 1983. Let's do this. Here we go. Project A, baby. Directed by Jackie Chan. Uncredited directing credit for Sammo Hung here. And the plot synopsis is, don't forget, everyone who's watching Versus right now, chat and Movie Dojo Army, we always go into spoilers. So just giving you guys a warning. Plot synopsis. Fighting against pirates at the turn of the 20th century. The Hong Kong Navy are failing miserably. It's up to Sergeant Lung to take matters into his own hands. That's right. Starring Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, Yuen Biao, Dick Wei, and many others. Let's talk about Project A. Now, my first experience with this movie is good and bad. It's good because I never heard of the movie, and I watched it on this bootleg DVD. It was the only way I can get it. This bootleg DVD, and the good thing is, I love the movie. I was like, this is phenomenal. I've never seen anything like this. You know, like Jackie Chan versus pirates. Are you kidding me right now? Like, like I'm sold, right? I'm sold. Jackie Chan versus pirates. I'm there. So I watched the DVD, and I really loved the movie. The only bad news about it was that bootleg DVD was not original language subtitled. It was horribly bad English dubbed. But the good news is I enjoyed the movie so much it didn't, the bad dubbing didn't ruin it. I'll give you an example of how bad the dubbing was in this. Do you guys remember the scene of the film where Jackie's just barely getting away on the bicycle sequence, and he finds Sammo Hung in the tea house, right? And at the time, there's this quick cut, and it shows Sammo sitting there at a table, and the female that they're protecting in the movie, it seems like he's kind of fixing her shoe. He's like helping her out, and it's a quick cut to him telling her, you're going to be good now. You're good. Everything's going to be okay, kind of thing. Dialogue. The English dubbing. This is what happens. So Jackie Chan comes in, finishes his bike sequence, comes in the tea house, quick cut. Same shot, Sammo Hung with the girl, and this is what it says. And I'll take a slice of pie.
Wow.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Because he's big boned.
Wow.
I was like, really? Yeah, so now you guys will never forget that. You will never forget that when you watch that scene now. You're going to think of, and a slice of pie. Like he's ordering something. It's so bad. However, the bad dubbing did not deter my enjoyment of the movie. I really, honestly can't think of anything negative off the top of my head. I'm trying to, but I really can't. It's just a lot of fun. There's comedy. The fight scenes are great. I love the final boss fight at the end with Dick Wei. Has Dick Wei not ever looked badass and intimidating? Like I mean, I have not seen him yet in a movie where I was just like, you know what, I don't want to fuck with that guy. I'm just gonna look this way. He is just a badass in this movie, and
he's
having
Taiwan military guy. So yeah, you don't fuck with him.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Frank, do you think this is Dick Wei's most popular role, or is one of his fans' favorite roles?
Well, definitely one of the fans' favorite role, although he was excellent in other films too. And in fact, I actually like him the most in a non-kung fu film called Code of Honor, where he played this righteous cop trying to catch bad guys. And he was just wonderful in it. And Charlie and Phat has a bit role in it, but it's more like a police crime action drama sort of thing. But Dick Wei was excellent in it, But yeah, every action film he's in, he's in, like Eastern Condor, My Lucky Stars. I mean, yeah, everything he does, he's just fantastic. Yeah, right here, yeah.
Especially in My Lucky Stars, he's badass. Like I've never seen this guy.
And he actually kicked Jackie in the face during the fight.
Right there in that shot. Oh shit!
Yeah, probably that one. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he kicked him for real.
Nice. Well, it happens. There's always the term. So they always like if a UFC MMA fight just happens and somebody gets knocked out or there's a big damage on the person's face. There's always the meme of, so you want to be an Ultimate Fighter, right? So, do you want to be a Hong Kong stuntman, right? But yeah, I enjoyed his portrayal in here as this pirate, and I like his he had a little bit of swag on him. He had a little bit of swag. I like that little lean he had, a little lean walking. But yeah, he was fun in this movie, playing the villain. Even though he's dead serious, he did a few things that I thought was comedic though. But yeah, stunt. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, he's just awesome. I'll get to it.
Okay. I'm almost done. But I'm really trying hard to think of something. I go like, they could have tweaked this. They could have cut this out. I didn't really like that scene. I really can't. The stunts are phenomenal. The fights are great. I love the fight in the this fight right here. Well, the opening bar fight It's hilarious. So this is hilarious. This is like one of the most entertaining bar fights I've ever seen in a movie. And it's just there's just so much good to talk about here. But I will not keep save it all to myself here. I'll let you guys give you guys a chance to talk about the awesomeness that is Project A. But yeah, I can't think of anything negative right now. Maybe something might come to me later. But we'll go ahead and pass it on to Rick. Rick, negatives or positives of Project A?
Well, I was sitting here reading this fine book. There's a whole chapter on Jackie Chan in here.
I wonder who wrote that book.
Yeah, I know.
Who is that?
Some pretender, some Jackie. But oh yes, by the way, Samurai, Samurai has bought the book, but he hasn't read it yet. If he read it, he would have known what I'm about to say. I, of course, discovered Jackie Chan in 1978. Larry Hama brought me down to Chinatown. I saw Drunken Monkey in a Tiger's Eye, a.k.a. Drunken Master, and I was in love. And shortly thereafter, I went out and I met Jackie. And at that point, at the time of Project A, Jackie was deciding what he was going to do with his career. He was still stuck in a place internationally. He wanted everybody to love him. When he was growing up, he was known as Double Boy, because even when he was a stunt guy in Sammo's movies and other people's movies, he would always try doubly hard. And that's because he was an abandoned kid, so he was always trying to get everybody to love him. So it wasn't enough that just China loved him or Hong Kong loved him. He wanted the world to love him. So he tried with Cannonball Run, and then he tried with The Big Brawl. And what we will discover at this era, that Jackie is inspired by what he considers his failures. And The Big Brawl, which was again an attempt on the American side to make him into Bruce Lee. As he said to me, or he said to, I'm not sure if it was to me or to John Ross on the Son of the Incredibly Strange Film Show, they try to make me Clint Eastwood. They try to make me Bruce Lee. That's not me. So he wanted to become himself. So he took the inspiration of The Big Brawl and said, I'm going to do what Bruce Lee said. I am going to learn everything I can from everyone I can, and then make it my own. So here, he decided to correct all the mistakes of all the Kung Fu movies up until then. And if you think about what those mistakes were, because he also, at the same time, he did Dragon Lord. And Dragon Lord took him years and years and years and years and years, and it never quite came together. And he learned from his mistakes. So he had already done with Yuen Wu Ping great Kung Fu, and Sammo had done great Kung Fu, and La Kal Yung had done great Kung Fu. But there was one thing that had not yet been done well in Hong Kong movies. And this movie, if you look below the surface, below the incredible stunts and all the action, this movie, the first time ever that dialogue made any difference in a Kung Fu movie. Usually dialogue connected, they just said as much as they had to, because of course they were dubbing it dozens and dozens of times so it could go out to all these events. There are sequences in this movie that depend entirely on dialogue, especially the scene with the pirate at the end, when Jackie is talking very fast to convince him that he is who he's disguised to be. And there are other things in this movie, again, with the dialogue. He also does something which his stuntmen and other stuntmen have never quite forgiven him for, that has also never been seen in a Kung Fu movie before. And that is, he showed people hitting the ground. He made it real gravity. Usually when somebody, as he knew, when he fell out of the shot, he was on a mat. But in this movie, and also very sweetly and very cleverly, he didn't let just his stunt guys do the falling. He also did the falling in one of the great sequences where he also paid homage to his idol, Buster Keaton, with that extended chase sequence. This sequence.
Oh.
when I was, and they
This is insane.
did it 3 times. He did it.
It's insane.
Showed all 3 times.
And didn't he almost die in this? Like
No, he
one
didn't
of these.
almost die, but he got hurt. And that last shot where he's being helped by his girlfriend and his police superior, or not his
Yem-Yo, right?
His Navy superior.
Yeah.
He got the line out, even though it was silent. It was filmed silent, but you see him collapsing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he spent time in the hospital. I didn't think he broke anything, but he beat himself up rather aggressive. So this movie, he was running on all cylinders, and he had rights to wrong. He was righting wrong, dialogue, showing guys hitting the ground. He did some other experiments that weren't as successful in this movie. For instance, just before the first time he shows a guy hitting the ground really hard, in the fight in the casino area or the club for the bad people. He does that shot, that shot, where he was trying to make a pow experience. You see when he kicks him? Boom.
Yeah.
All that sand. He overdid the sand. And he knew he overdid the sand. But in subsequent films, and also later on in the film, he made it work. Now, again, Phat, if you had read the book, you would have read my quote from Sammo Hung, because I interviewed Sammo Hung for the book and for his own section, also for this. And here it says, Project A was Jackie's first solo kung fu film revolution, with a little help from his friend. Quote, at the beginning of filming Project A, I was only an actor, close quote. Sammo, Jackie Chan's Peking Opera School senior, told me, quote, but after a year, Jackie had only finished half the movie. Filming did not go very smoothly. So Golden Harvest asked me to take care of the rest of the movie. It worked out okay because I've known Jackie since he was a little boy. If it wasn't me, Jackie wouldn't have allowed it. We finished, and it turned out well. Close quote. And as I say in the book, that was an understatement. It turned out great, and the box office returns reflected. So I remember seeing this movie when it first came out, because at that point I was seeing all the movies when they premiered in Chinatown or in Hong Kong. I think just before I went to Hong Kong, but I saw it in Chinatown, New York, before I went to it. And me and the entire audience at the Canal Street Cinema was just like bug-eyed, jaw-dropped, and rocking and rolling, because we could see, even though I said, I see what he's doing, he's correcting these, dialogue. When he got to the dialogue sequences, I went, Jack, you clever little Dickens, you. Oh my gosh. So this movie, to my mind, many people feel, and I have to agree, that Project A and Project A2 are his finest achievements in revolutionizing film. Project A revolutionized the kung fu film industry, and also another thing that I absolutely love. This movie takes place in 1904. He did that for a reason, the way I termed it in Inside Kung Fu magazine, an Asian called Cinema magazine, and Films appear in other places. This movie drags the kung fu film, kicking and screaming, literally into the 20th century. The guy, he's never been more of a genius. He's never been more of a genius.
Yes.
Definitely.
All right. Is anybody got a TV on in the background there? I'm hearing a little extra.
I'm blaming Kyle.
Kyle, we got
Doors closed and everything. Doors closed and everything on my end.
All right.
I'm hearing the same stuff. Is that you, Frank?
No, we're good now. I think we're good now.
All right. Oh, good.
All right. Eric, positives and negatives of Project A.
Well, one thing was kind of ironic that I rewatched this one this week, because I've been on a bit of a pirate kick, watching some of the Hammer Films pirate films, like the Pirates of Blood River with Christopher Lee. So I did kind of like a double feature pirate evening. I really like the comedy in this movie. Like the opening fight scene in like the bar is great. I love it when the two cops show up. They're like, "All right, everybody, break it up. We're cops," and everybody stops and they're like, we're cops too, and they just start pounding on him. They bring him into the fight. That was great. There's the one dude when they're doing the training, and they're putzing around. And now, how do you pronounce his name? Do you pronounce it Yun Bao or Yun Bu?
Yun Bu.
Bu. Okay. So he's doing his thing, and he's punishing these guys. He's saying, okay, you go over there and you do this 100 times. You go over there, you do this 100 times. So they laugh at something. He's like, okay, who laughed? And one guy's trying to be a smart aleck. He's like, I did, assuming the punishment's going to be go over there and laugh 100 times. But instead, Yun says its punishment is death. And they drag him out into the back and like fake kill him. I thought that was pretty funny too.
Yeah.
Although,
If you ever wanted to know Yun Bun's address in Hong Kong, there it is.
ooh, all right. So then, although some of the humor like is pretty bizarre, like the one dude during the training who changes the grenade for a live grenade, like how would that ever have turned out well for anyone? But it's funny because it's so outlandish, you know. But yeah, I really like the comedy in this. The pacing is really nice, man. There's really no dead spots. It's not like you're sitting around for a half an hour waiting for something entertaining to happen. You know, as you get the action and the comedy keeps moving along. You get a few strong dramatic scenes. You know, in a scene that almost is kind of similar to what we'll see in Police Story. You know, Jackie reprimands the colonel in this, and it's like giving it to him. You know what I mean? For like some of the stuff he's been doing behind the scenes. So he's even in this movie, he's got some pretty solid dramatic acting in this. And then the fights, I mean, there's so many good ones. I love the bicycle scene where the girl's hobbling a little bit and she goes on separate pathways and then they come back together. And then that transitions to the restaurant fight with him and Sammo. And then there's the crazy clock tower fight with the sledgehammer involved in it. So this is just it's just pure entertainment value. And then at the end of the film, you get that great 3-on-1 pirate fight with Dick Way, which is a great it finishes strong. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's not a whole lot you can really complain about with this. And it's just a feat of pure entertainment value that I very much enjoy.
Nice. All right, Kyle.
Okay, I'm not sure, but I started looking it up, and Rick, Frank, and anyone else that could chime in. Is this the first time that Sammo Hung, Yenbyu, and Jackie all shared the screen for the very first time together? And then it would...
No.
Unless you don't count Winners and Sinners.
Okay, because I was wondering that.
Yeah, in terms of sharing the same screen at the same time, then yes.
Yeah,
I mean, they all appear in Winners and Sinners, but not together. Like Yunbyu was never with Sammo, and like when Sammo and Jackie are together, Yunbyu is not with them. So yes, you can say in terms of appearing at the same time, then yes, Park Jack-ae was the first one. But we should give thanks to Winners and Sinners for that.
Yeah.
Right, but also as co-stars.
Yes,
the first time, because I'm fairly certain in the earlier stuff they all worked on the same movies together. Mm-hmm. But not as major co-stars.
Right. And that's what I looked at this one when I rewatched it for the first time in like a long time, because I remember watching this when I was young, and then finally when I got to watching it again, I was like, oh my god, seeing all three of them together is always a treat. And having them play these archetypes differently, like you have Jackie, that's literally the rebel, Yenbyu, who's always the stern one, but logical, and then Sammo either being the miscreant or just someone lighthearted that would always do something to get out of it. And then having them bring like their type of characteristics together always shows like they all want something for themselves, but together they will work together. And that's what I always loved about seeing them all together in these movies. And for this one, when seeing like the first bar fight scene, I just remember like hearing everyone talk about like, yes, never shake the camera, always show the action. And you see all the action with how Jackie and Sammo and Yenbyu all work together behind the scene camera and in front of the camera, just knowing what the timing is, knowing how the choreography is going to go, and just understanding what the story language is to make sure that you see these two different factions of the naval army just battling each other, and they're just like, yep, it all started with these guys. And then the two, like Eric said, the two cops come in and it's like, okay, who's sorry? That doesn't even matter. They just throw them into the fight, and you're just wondering, okay, this is gonna happen. And then you just have Jackie and Yen Bu just having that like highest officer kind of standoff against each other. But then you see that their partnership grows through their training, alongside the fact that they start understanding each other, especially when they go into that one corrupt club owner's place, and it's exactly like Eric said, like it will resonate in Police Story, where we see Jackie like denounce his position and saying, "You're letting this happen," and then he just goes up, grabs the guy, kicks him off the balcony, and you're like, "Yep, he's making a statement here," and he's not just making a statement; he's making this like clear, like, "You're gonna let this go? Well, I'm doing this. I don't care. I quit." And it's just beautiful, like how that language and that subtlety and in this film really was just starting off, like how Jackie was gonna be like setting the bar for himself and his career path. And even like when Winnie, the female that he has, like involving her with the stunts too, like, oh yeah, you're just gonna jump here and then you're just gonna slide here, and I'm just like, that woman just, holy shit! I wonder how many injuries you have. Not compared to what we will see with Bridget Lynn later. But,
I know.
But just how Jackie, Sammo, and Yen Bu involve everyone to understand the choreography and the story together just makes this film very much a standard. Especially like, as we said, like this, seeing them all three together as co-stars together in this film really shines how well they work together, regardless of story and character, because you could tell that they are Peking brothers and they've all trained together and they are family, and that they could just make anything great. And I got nothing bad to say about this one.
All right.
Oh wait,
I'm sensing a theme here, but yeah, go ahead.
I do remember the one greatest thing about this film too was when they were all looking for the passwords, and Yen Bu goes with that Cantonese like lava the buffoon. I'm like, how can you do that in Cantonese? I'm like wondering, that's a tongue twister in Cantonese. I can't even do that. That's
dialogue based.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a pretty funny scene. Like, what did Sammo tell him? He's like, "I'm gonna mess you up," or something like that. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, that's the password." He tells Jackie, "Hey, I'm gonna mess you up," and Jackie beats him up. Yeah, it was pretty funny. All right, now it's time to hear from the other legend. That's right, Frank.
You know, like I said, well, Kyle mentioned something that I wanted to say. Was basically this was the first time that all three of them appear on screen together, and that alone, you know, makes this film rather special. But you know, like I'm sure they saw the potential in Winners and Sinners with Jackie's cameo. And even though there was only one fight scene in Winners and Sinners with Jackie and Sammo, and then the roller skating thing, they saw that, hey, maybe to have these three Peking opera brothers together might create some magic, and sure they did, right? I mean, and also one thing that I like about this film was how unusual it was to see a film that is set in turn of the century Hong Kong. You always see films that's set in turn of century China or early 20th century China. You have like Magnificent Butcher, Iron Fisted Monk, in kind of spooky kind. They either set in late Qing Dynasty, early 20th century, but it's always in China, right? But you hardly see, at that time, I'm just saying at that time, you hardly see movie set not only in Hong Kong for the turn of century, but also primarily on, it depicts the British colonial side. You see all these, the Hong Kong Navy, the all British naval uniform, his commander, they're all in British attire most of the time. So it's kind of nice and refreshing to see a film that had that kind of period setting, and of course the choreography. I mean, the elaborate, how elaborate all the stunt highlights was. This was also, I think, the first film where Jackie realizes that he can do something death-defying, or he can do something special, like the clock tower stunt, the bicycle thing that would. Convince people to go see the film in the theaters. And I remember seeing this at the Great Star Theater in San Francisco, Chinatown. People were just amazed at that clock tower jump, at the bicycle scene here. I mean, obviously he's paying tribute to Buster Keaton here, and then with the clock tower, the Harold Lloyd, safety last tribute. But like this was the first one we can actually see Jackie kind of going all out to do these kind of stunts that can really kill him. Like you look at Dragon Lore. Okay, Dragon Lore, yeah, he gets hit or beaten. Maybe he did 1,000 takes on getting beaten and stuff, but you never sense his life is in danger. But here, you like the clock tower thing. You see his head going down head first. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, how could he not survive that jump, right? I mean, that is just pretty amazing. And to have him to show that that was really him, to have him stand up, say the dialogue and stuff. I mean, that is just amazing. Like I said, we were watching this a great star, and like people's mouth was just wide open. It's like, wow, it was did he really just do that? So I think this film will always be remembered as the first kind of like a groundbreaking first of the groundbreaking collaboration of the three, Peking Opera brothers. Now, with that said, though, I do have one. I do feel kind of let down. I know you guys are gonna hate me for saying this.
Oh no.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
actually
Be
happy,
honest.
actually.
Okay, but I
Go
did
ahead.
feel. Okay. I did feel kind of let down by the final fight, and I'll tell you why. There are two things that I thought the final fight could have been better. One, during the fight, they kept cutting to the other story of like Mars and Yun Bill trying to run away and coming back and all that jazz. And two, I felt the use of the explosive was just a little bit. It kind of got into the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like while they're fighting and stuff, the explosives, the use of the explosive kind of get into the way of the fight. I want to see a longer, extended, more uninterrupted fight with Samo, Yun Bill, Jackie, and Dick Wei. So to have explosive coming into the picture, for someone who's like I was watching this Kung Fu classic the other day, Duel of the Seven Tigers, all right, classic 1979 Hong Kong martial arts film, Philip Ko, Chu Chi-ling, Goku stuff. The final fight was nonstop. Okay, it's like 9 minutes of nonstop mayhem, nonstop fights. Long shots, long choreography, no cutting. It's just from nonstop from start to finish. But here in Project A, yeah, the fights are great, fantastic. The coordination between the three of them and all that, fantastic. But to have the explosive kind of get into the way. I know it's part of the plot. I know it's almost like we cannot kill this pirate. The only way we can kill him is to use explosive. That to me was like, well, it's Dick Wei. Can you just kick his ass? Like, I want to see Dick Wei's ass being kicked, right? And so to end with them throwing the explosive in the carpet, and that was that's a great shot of them leaping from the explosion. That's fantastic. But just to see Dick Wei being taken down that way, it did feel a little bit, to me, it did feel a little bit anticlimactic.
Right.
Well, I talked to Jackie about this.
Okay.
And you're right, Frank, that the things that dissatisfied you is why he did them. Because Duel of the Seven Tigers, everybody was doing. And as he said to us, he was very tired of the fighting, why do you look at me fighting movie. He wanted everything to connect up. And he also he wanted to create this. He had established the characters of all three of these people. And then he established the character of the pirate. And in his world, in the world he was creating, he wanted to, again, drag the Kung Fu movie into the 20th century. So he couldn't have that. He didn't want that ending. That's why he piled all the action in the beginning and also different kinds of action, gravity-based action. The way they looked at it is they could have done that kind of sequence, but then it wouldn't have been a Jackie Chan movie. It would have been everybody else's movie. So he wanted something that was unique, because up until then, he was searching for who he was. Because up until then, he was half Yuen Woo-ping. He wasn't completely himself yet. He was doing variations of what him and Yuen Woo-ping had done. This was the first movie that that he wanted to call a Jackie Chan film or movie or flick, because Dragon Lord is not something that he felt was as successful as it should have been. So unlike some people I could name, I respect Jackie.
I wonder who that is.
Do I suck up to Jackie? Yes, I do.
I'll say more. I'll say more when we get to Police Story. But I think I think what you just said
Okay.
was about him trying to make this a Jackie Chan movie. I think he did it. I guess he did it in a better way in Police Story than here. I think the incorporation of plot narrative with action. I think it was better executed in Police Story, but we'll get to it when
We'll get to that. And also, the great thing about Jackie and what makes him a true kung fu savant is that he learns and he wants to improve until he got hurt and then he didn't.
Okay. All right. So that makes sense a little bit. With Rick breaking it down why he did it the way he did. But I'm not gonna lie, Frank. I was enjoying that end final boss fight so much. I wouldn't mind an extra minute.
Of course,
I wouldn't mind an extra minute.
alternate, cut scene, that would have been awesome. I'm sure Dick Chi-Hwa would have been up for it.
Yeah. All right. Rock and roll, let's keep it going.
Ooh.
Police Story, 1985. That's right. The Fuck You James Glickenhaus movie. Please, man, this came out 2 years after Project A. Jesus Christ.
It had
Plot
to.
synopsis.
It took 2 years to make.
Yeah, plot synopsis. A virtuous Hong Kong police officer must clear his good name when the drug lord he is after frames him for the murder of a dirty cop. Directed by Jackie Chan, Chi-Hwa Chen, starring Maggie Cheung and Bridget Lin, and as well as Jackie Chan himself. But yes, and one of my favorite characters in this Police Story series, Uncle Bill.
The late Bill Bong Bill. R.I.P.
Yeah, rest in peace. But you gotta love Uncle Bill in all of these movies.
I got to meet him at Jackie Chan's 32nd birthday party in Hong Kong. I got to meet him.
How cool! How cool is that?
I have a picture of it.
Rick, I will save the fuck James Glickenhaus story for you. I'll save that for you.
You already said it. You already said it.
Yeah, but if you wanted to break it down deep, if you want. But yeah, Police Story. I caught clips of this on television back in the day, and I was just blown away by the clips. And finally, I watched it on the old VHS. That's right, kiddies. You remember that? Younglings? Probably not. It's all right. But VHS. I bought it on VHS, watched it, loved it, really enjoyed it. And of course, DVD, and now Blu-ray and all that good stuff. We got to keep representing the badassity that the film genres that we love out there. But Police Story is great. Man, I rewatched it today. I mean, it's been years. It's been a long time since I've rewatched it. So I did it today just for this Versus episode. I watched it today. And after that whole opening, that whole insane in the membrane opening that we had, action sequence with all the stunts and everything, right when it ended with Jackie stopping the bus and the guys went through the windshields and went through the glass and fell down. Right after that, I could have stopped the movie and got my money's worth. I could have said, you know what, I'm done. All right, I got my money's worth. Woo-hoo. That was awesome. You don't even see in action sequences finales in some of the action movies that we have today just as big as this opening. Like, he wanted to make a statement right out the bat. He wanted to make a statement, and that whole opening action sequence is insane. And of course, all the fight in the mall, all those fights are badass. It scratches the fucking action itch. It does scratch the itch. I'm very pleased. Might as well nickname this movie Glass Story sometimes with all the glass they broke in this film. But I do have an issue. What? I have an issue. I kind of feel Project A had better pacing than this movie. As much as the action is just, this is like one of the greatest action films ever made, bar none. If I'm in a top 10, it'd be on there. But to be honest, I love this movie to death. Remember, I said it'd be on my top 5. But to be honest, I was kind of checking out a little bit when we had Jackie Chan breakdancing on some dookie that got on his foot, and then we spent 15 minutes on a phone call prank, comedic skit that felt like it was 15 minutes, and I'm kind of like, okay, like, all right, movie. I was kind of checking out a little bit. Now, all the fun shenanigans between him and Bridget Lin was fun. It was fun, but I don't know. I don't know. It almost felt like a little bit of a tonal shift sometimes throughout the film, and then we get back on track. What Eric was talking about with the scene with him like talking to his superior and then taking him at gunpoint because they were going to arrest him, and he's like, "No, fuck that." I was like all in again. Jackie's acting was really good, and I was like all in till the very end. Non-stop, badass adrenaline rush. I love it. I love this movie. But yeah, I was kind of like, okay, where are we going now, movie?
Just to
Where
point out real quick,
Sure.
some of the additional humor was requested, I believe, by Japanese audiences. There's actually an alternate Japanese opening, like in the Hong Kong version. Right off the bat, you go to that opening action sequence with the houses and all that stuff, or the raid, right? But in the Japanese opening, there's actually an additional 10-minute sequence set inside a police office where Mars and some of the other fellow officers trying to like do a practical joke, and so that was not in the Hong Kong version. So all these, that's I believe some of these additional like you said the scene with the phone and stuff was kind of made to cater to the Japanese audiences because they thought, Jackie is so cute doing all these funny stuff, so can we have more? And so that's sometimes they added those to satisfy a particular market or particular demographic.
Okay, that makes sense. Still love the movie though, but that for me being nitpicky, I have to point that out. I was just kind of like, okay, can we get back to the main plot? But other than that, phenomenal movie. I'm gonna pass it over to Rick.
All right. Now, Frank, you probably don't know this, not having seen other episodes, but whenever I do an episode of Versus, I always have a fashion show. So here we have my Rumble in the Bronx shirt.
You see my Hong Kong Star Wars poster shirt, my friend? That is the Hong Kong poster for Star Wars.
Frank, it has to be film specific. I need a Star Wars film tonight. Jackie Chan films tonight.
I don't have a Jackie Chan t-shirt.
Well, lucky for you, I've got two.
Young Master, that's good.
Fortunately, I don't have Drunken Master or Project A. I do have Rumble in the Bronx. And by the way, this is unique. This is only one of these were ever made, and it was made for me.
Oh, wow.
And this, however, I had my friend Terry make for me, both in a short sleeve and long sleeve shirt. And this is Young Master.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Well, may the force be with you.
Not in May yet. Back off, Sid.
Rick, he's stealing your thunder, Rick, he's stealing some of your thunder. I don't know if you want to invite him next week.
Oh, doing thunder from Rick.
He's trying to copy me in an inferior way.
The next Versus episode will be shirts. Who has a better shirt?
Is Eureka and Project and 88 Films, do they have T-shirts and shit that they can give you?
No, but they do have a very nice limited edition of Young Master Blu-ray, which actually is sold out now. They 5,000 sets. They're all gone.
Now, Police Story. To again reading from the book of Rick.
Selling for 1 penny on Amazon. Just kidding.
I don't mind. Somebody bought two of my two signs.
Shipping is $3.99.
I have no problem with that. The thing, this was published in 2011. I'm still getting royalty.
No, this is a great book. Fantastic book. Yeah.
So in any case, this actually pointed out, wisely pointed out, this was the revenge against the Protector. Jackie is never more inspired than when he comes back from America and they treat him like crap. As he whispers, as Glickenhaus whispered to him, the director of The Protector, I make you Clint Eastwood. It's like, that's not was his interest. So This time, Chan decided to take everything he had learned about movie making and pour his heart and soul, and his heart and soul alone, onto the screen. As with Project A, Jackie saw to that much of the film's success came from characterization and plot, two vastly underused ingredients in Hong Kong kung fu film mix. He tried to balance inventive comedy with emotional drama, making the audience truly care about and identify with the characters, something else that had been in short supply in Hong Kong cinema. Now, that's what I wrote in 2010. Here we are 11 years later, and I don't completely agree with myself anymore. Because he was getting to a point which from this point on, it became more and more exaggerated. As he was dealing with people, when he dealt with his brothers, Yun and Samo, he knew they could carry their weight. But the more he didn't work with them, he was working with people who got hurt, who could not do the timing well enough for him. I mean, and both Project A and Police Story took like years to make, and the other ones took long, and he was just getting tired of having to repeat, not because he wanted to make it perfect, but because he had to make up for the deficiencies of his cast and in some cases his crew. So this movie started to show him it's actually not about making you identify with the characters, plural, it's making you identify with the character, him. You care about him. The way he treats the women in this movie is also the beginning of an unfortunate tradition that he had that became ludicrous, almost laughable in later Police Story films. I mean, he gave respect to Michelle Yeoh in Police Story 3, but in New Police Story, it has one of my favorite moments in terms of showing what his relationship with his female co-stars were, where this beautiful girl who liked his character, who was much older now, and came to his door and rang the doorbell over and over and over again, and he wouldn't answer the door. And the camera pans back, and he's sitting kind of like on the floor against the wall, refusing to answer the door. I said, that's his relationship with his female co-stars in a nutshell. If he's not throwing them off screen, he's literally ignoring them. And in this movie, he treats, I mean, Maggie Cheung, you know how great an actress Maggie Cheung is?
Yes.
Given the way he treats her in this movie, I cared very much about her, but not because of anything Jackie did, but because of how she reacted to what Jackie did. And she, that was super awesome. Then, one great fight after another. One of the things I want to open up to all of you to discuss is also this set the tone, which became more exaggerated and more important later, of him making the action top heavy or beginning heavy. In other words, the amazing thing about Jackie is there's virtually no Jackie Chan clone because nobody wants to put themselves in as much risk as he puts himself in. So Hollywood couldn't steal the finale, but they could steal, and they did, the opening stuff. Bad Boys 2, Michael Bay took the shanty town.
Yep.
Tango and Cash.
And then he did it for Bad Boys 2. And then, of course, Stallone pays homage to the bus sequence of those guys coming out. And, of course, that was they were supposed to hit the car.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they went to the hospital.
Yeah.
But Jackie loved the shot, so he kept it. But also, that also showed something that would not have happened in real life. If a bus had stopped that fast, they would not have gone through the window at the front of the bus. They would have bounced off the window at the front of the bus. And maybe Jackie could, but hey, so Jackie was beginning to play a little faster and a little looser for effect because he was becoming increasingly tired. But again, nice man, Jackie. He either does this consciously or subconsciously. He's not going to put his beloved stuntmen, or not really beloved, considering the way he treats them after they're off the film. But he wouldn't save himself. That last sequence where he jumps off, and I have quotes from Jackie. Yeah, that he didn't spare himself either. He banged himself regularly, as evidenced by the end credit outtakes, but also seriously burned his hands during the climactic stunt in which he slid down a 3-story, light bulb-strewn pole to catch the villain, who is, by the way, the famed director of Wu Sha, Chi-Hwa. And quote, They were supposed to be low-watt bulbs, Jackie revealed to me. Close quote. They weren't. Even without that oversight, it took hours for him to gather up the courage to actually jump off the mezzanine and onto the pole. He was sort of like seeing the future when he gets his skull broken on Armor of God. And then he didn't do his own stunts after that. He had guys like Stanley Tong and the stuntmen. And why am I blanking on the name of that wonderful stuntman who worked a lot? He was the star of the Hong Kong Green Hornet. You know what I'm talking about, Frank? The star of Operation Scorpio, along with La Callion. Yeah. We'll look it up. Look it up in the book.
I'll look it up.
But he also was Jackie's stuntman in a lot of things, especially in Sammo's movies, where Sammo couldn't wait for Jackie to come to the set. So in Thunderbolts, this guy doubled Jackie, and he also doubles Jackie in Dragons Forever.
Chin Ka-Lok.
Huh?
Chin Ka-Lok.
Yeah, Chin Ka-Lok. Why could I forget? He's one of my favorite new choreographers too. Chin Ka-Lok is awesome. Chin Ka-Lok also did the final kick on Benny the Jet at the end of Dragon Forever in that fight scene. So Jackie is not, of course, doing all his own stunts, but it took him a long time to make that jump because he was in he wasn't on a set, he was on an actual department store, which is in Kowloon. Yeah, and basically they worked from like 7 at night to 7 in the morning, as long as it took. So he was up really that high. He didn't have any opportunity. It took him a long time to do that. As he said to me, I want to film. When we're not filming, I worry. In other words, he has to stand up there and wait for everybody to be ready. So while he's waiting for everybody and he has to stand up there or crouch up there, he's getting more and more concerned. He's going, maybe I'll get hurt. Maybe I'll die. But when he hears the cry from the camera crew rolling, he forgot everything and he just does it. And he just did it. And also, I think maybe in the Japanese cut, Frank, you see him holding up his hands.
Right.
You see his you see the raw meat. And there were 3 different cuts of this. There was the Japanese cut, which, do you agree with me, Frank? That's the superior cut.
I believe so. Yeah, the Japanese cut just ends with him grabbing Choi Yun at the end, right after he jumped down.
Yeah, the Hong Kong cut does. The Japanese cut continues.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah. And also the Japanese cut starts with the birthday party.
Right. That's the opera frame I was mentioning. Right.
Huh.
He creates more character. He has, at the beginning of the Japanese cut, there's a birthday party where they have some fun jokes and they establish the characters within the police station. And that when the Hong Kong cop starts to show in the shanty towns that he's a coward, that he's that is already better established.
No.
At the end of the movie, again, as Frank points out in the Hong Kong cut, he just grabs everybody and they freeze frame on it. Yeah. But in the Japanese cut, they have a shot and also the theme song kicks in, and there's a shot of everybody leaving the
shopping mall. Right.
Oh wow.
And you see them
Bruce Maggie Brown outside, looking at him,
waiting for him, and they're looking at each other, and then they see what's her name, who's being arrested and being put in the car. So, and then they all start driving away, and the credits roll. So it's a far superior. And then there was the 3rd cut, which I got to watch because Jackie came to New York and showed his American cut at the New York Film Festival of Police Force. And that's where Michael Bay is. And the word got around, and of course copies of it went everywhere and they saw it. So basically, I think I love this movie because it's the last of the great Jackie Chan ending fight. That mall fight is just super awesome. Again, what is that noise? Do you know what that noise is?
Yeah, what is that sneaking in again?
It's not me. I live in silence.
Kyle's muting his mic just in case.
But that's all right. Whatever it is, or it's a
still hear
ghost.
us.
It's Jackie's ghost. Jackie, like Paul McCartney, died, and now he's coming back. The ending fight scene was awesome. It's a little top heavy. This fight scene is so that, I mean, when I saw that originally, knowing it was a real place and not a set, and basically what's his name was, I think who was it who got kicked on the escalator and did the backward flip and bounced?
Fung Harkon.
Yeah, just like, that's a real escalator.
Yeah.
That's a real metal escalator.
Ouch.
So that, yeah, again, just a spectacular sequence, very much Buster Keaton, very much Harold Lloyd, very much Charlie Chaplin, but with real pain because you know it's the real deal. And of course, Jackie's being kicked through. They put in sugar glass, but they made it at 3 or 4 levels because it didn't look real when it was just one level of sugar glass. So it was like 3 or 4, and he cut himself. I think you saw him at the end outtakes. So he bled for his films, and I always agreed that what he said. He said, I'm going to die anyway. I would rather die on a set. And so, and as I said at the time, Jackie Chan is the only filmmaker in the world who not only is willing but wants to die for you. He's willing to die for you, the audience. So, and this was, I think, his greatest achievement in that, because with Armor of God, it was sabotaged by his life-threatening accident. So this was a great movie, but the comedy can be a little, dragged out. The treatment of the women is not cool. It is not as well structured as Project A. And if I think of anything else, I'll mention it.
All right, copy that.
Carry on.
Eric, Police Story.
All right, so you can't call this glass story because I will go to bat. The most glass ever broken in a motion picture, in my opinion, is Invisible Target. So that's my number one for glass breaking in a freaking movie. If you could beat that, let me know.
It's funny because it's true.
So the one thing I liked about this is that there's a little bit of mind games going on with the cops in this movie. They play some mind games with the bad guys. So, for example, they bring Bridget Lynn's character into the office, and they're like, we'd like to talk to you alone without your attorney. The attorney leaves, and the cops just sit there for like 5 minutes. They're just sitting there, they're drinking their coffee. She's like, you guys going to ask me any questions? They're like, no, you could go. So then she leaves, and the attorney's like, what'd they say? She's like, they didn't say anything. And then he gets suspicious that she's hiding something. So I really like that dynamic there. And then, obviously, they have the guy come in with the mask, the fake killer, so they think her man's trying to get her killed so that they'll go on her side more willingly.
Mars?
Yeah.
Mars.
And that was a pretty funny scene as well. And that kind of worked for a little while until she figured it out. So I like the mind games in this. It added a little extra dimension to it. And then, obviously, all the fights are really good here. But Samurai Guy, he freaking stole my freaking criticisms because we're on exactly the same page.
It's all good.
The phone scene, I've never liked that scene. It's like a Paul Feig movie. The joke goes on like 5 minutes too long.
I felt like it was like
they took it out of the American cut. They took it out of the American.
Oh. Huh.
And then I brought receipts. I timed this.
Okay.
All right. The parking lot brawl is at around the 40-minute mark. I don't think there's an actual action set piece until the apartment brawl with Bridget Lynn being captured, and that's after the 70-minute mark. Mm-hmm. So you have that half an hour section in the middle. Now, of course, you get, I think in that section we get like the courtroom scene, which is actually pretty well written. I kind of like the defense attorney, how he pokes holes. That was actually pretty well written, and some other good stuff in there. But again, you have that middle half hour for like the action junkies might seem a little soft. And then, but it picks up, and then you have a great finale after that. So, yeah, this is just a really good flick, man. It seems like every time I watch it, I actually like it a little bit more somehow. So, yeah, definitely a great flick.
All right, nice. No other negatives though, just the ones I stole.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, one more homage. I just remember there was one more. I'm sure, Rick, there's probably like hundreds of movies out there that probably steal or homage this film. But there was one more, Brandon Lee's Rapid Fire.
Yeah.
At the end finale fight, the fight choreography and set piece there is taken from Police Story. In the beginning action sequence, he gets on a bike and runs a guy through a glass cabinet all the way. So there's I'm sure this movie influenced so many other action films. All right, Kyle.
And I was going to add one more to that.
Do it.
Where, what was it? How Jackie always has that joke where he's talking on the phone and it's already disconnected and he's not really talking to anyone. That got referenced in District B13 in the French movie where he's trying to, what's his name?
Cyril Raffaelli or the other guy?
Cyril Raffaelli was talking with his superiors with the drug lord, trying to organize all the money, and the next thing you know, his superiors just hang up on him, and he's like, "Yeah, okay." So yeah, this is the bank account. And again, this movie influenced a lot of North American like Hollywood, but Hollywood cannot emulate or even try and do the same thing. And like this, even I'm thinking like, did this film start off also doing like the cop genre in Hong Kong action?
No,
in a sense,
no, but it made it far superior.
Yeah.
At the beginning of my introduction to the section, I talk about the history of modern day kung fu films up until that point.
Because right after Police Story came, I believe, Righting Wrongs, which had Yen Bu in it, and Cynthia Rothrock, and then Tiger Cage after that. And that was like almost the end of the 80s and then going into the 90s. But I just remembered when I first got introduced to this one was the American cut. And then when I finally like grew up and said, "Yep, give me back my Hong Kong cut. I want to watch the Hong Kong cut." And again, the Hong Kong cut has always been the best one that I would always watch, especially in Cantonese, and getting the nuances of every dialogue and just seeing like how, again, the mistreatment of Maggie Cheung in this movie. I feel bad for Maggie Cheung throughout, like as a character throughout the series, minus New Police Story and the fact that she's not even included in First Strike because First Strike never even happened in that whole series. But just how Maggie Cheung really tries to make this relationship work with Jackie's character. It's so heartbreaking what she goes through to make, and he's just like, even though that whole arc comes near in Police Story 2, you're just like wondering, why are you staying with him? You're always in danger. But
leave him already, right?
Right?
Yeah, they cut out a line saying, "You're damn lucky you're Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
I would not be sitting around here. Dragon Ma, forget it. You're Jackie Chan."
Yeah. So the whole story, like him going after Chu Tao, like the main boss throughout the whole film, you just see that like him being tasked with protecting Bridget Lin, and then next thing you know, he screws it up by like, "Yep, I overslept, and the witness is gone." Uncle Bill's just like, "You fuck." Seriously? And again, that's the weird tonal shift of like you get the action and then this nice comedic moments, but then it goes into this weird kind of slapsticky, but not too slapsticky that it's just takes you out of it. But then it comes back when he finally finds Bridget Lin and then gets betrayed by this other cop that you could tell like near the beginning that there is this type of rivalry between them. But of course, Fung Hawk On like just frames him and then comes back near the end where he takes his commander hostage, and then the commander just says, "Do what you gotta do. I'll send everyone after you in a bit." And I was like, that's respect right there, in a sense of just cool. Yeah, just go do it. We'll get to you in the end. And yes, the whole finale in the mall is just beautifully done. Like him and Fung Hak On and Bridget Lin doing all the stunts that they went through is it's just brutal. It like seeing this whole mall being utilized and all of Jackie's stuntmen taking these bumps and falls and just everything brutalizing, and even learning about Jackie not rehearsing the drop down because it took like however long for him to actually get in the mindset of, okay, I gotta do this, and then finally slide down the pole. It's insane, like
Man.
how he set the bar for himself again on this film. And then
Kyle, which one do you think is more dangerous? This one or the clock tower fall?
like, here's the thing, like, third degree burns, yep, leave scars, but that clock tower, he fell on his neck. If like another inch, and he did it 3 times. He did it 3 times. That is dedication, but at the same time, that for him to do that 3 times is fucking insane. But that was on real concrete ground too. And granted, like, he had some sort of cushion of that awning in Police Story. Well, I meant the awning in Police Story from the pole, but it goes back to his one line in Project A. I just proved something that is right. Gravity exists. I'm like, yeah.
But it wasn't concrete. It wasn't concrete.
It wasn't concrete.
He had dirt over a pad.
Okay.
But not so you could see it, really.
Yeah.
I was close.
And it's 3 stories. So,
3 stories, and just him taking all these, like, everything and being the perfectionist that he is, you see that this is one film that he is trying to perfect in his own way of how to set the bar. And then even at the end when Uncle Bill and the supervisor just see, like, Jackie is unhinged to the point where he's like, I don't care, I'm beating the shit out of, like, everyone in my way. Beats up the lawyer, beats up the other guy, and then beats up Chu Tao to the point that Bill and the supervisor are like, how do we write this in the report? And the commander just says, we saw nothing. And then they just walk away. I'm going, okay, that's a good way to end it.
Yeah, I like that.
But other than that, like, this film really set the bar of, like, the 80s and 90s Hong Kong action that we would expect to a certain degree later on. But at the same time, there is a lot of influence that Hollywood tried to emulate but cannot replicate at all. And I still have this movie at a high respect for it, and high respect for Jackie Chan doing this film.
Copy that.
Now I have a quick fun fact for you.
Fun fact.
According to Wikipedia, which, you never know, Yes, Madam came out 2 weeks before this movie.
Oh yeah. No. I was wondering about that. I couldn't find that one. I wasn't sure. Thank you, Eric. So
another badass movie right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I for mindless action entertainment, I like Bad Boys too. But I remember being in the theater and I remember seeing this. And I was like, oh wow, they just ripped off Police Story. And here's the sad thing. This was filmed so much better. And I'm sure Bad Boys 2's budget is insanely big. We're talking Michael Bay budget big. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't it just was like
they couldn't do it because in Hong Kong, if people die, people die. In an American film, Michael Bay would love to kill people, but he can't. Hey, Michael Bay is no John Landis.
Yeah.
So,
God damn it.
In any case, and also I might mention that thank you. I appreciate that reaction, Frank. Yes, Madam was made long before it was released. So
okay. But yeah, it was like it should be an impressive action. If you're gonna steal, make it look just as impressive. But it just was like it was okay. Nobody in the audience gave a shit. And that was like the finale of Bad Boys 2. That was like the big action set pieces, and no one was in the theater going, it's just sad. just segueing off of the point you're trying to make there. Frank.
So I have to apologize for my ring light. It kept falling off this little stand here because for some reason
it's all good.
Tipping over all the time. So that's why you saw me doing this. But
no, it's all good. I thought somebody was messing with you on the side, and you were like bitch slapping them.
You're fighting them off.
No, my light got so excited it fell off. So if you, as I mentioned in my audio commentary for the Lucky Star film set from Eureka, Jackie actually spent 3 films preparing himself for Police Story. You had Winners and Sinners, where he played this bumbling cop. He doesn't even have a name. He only had this badge number 7086. And then he was doing all these Inspector Clouseau stuff in Winners and Sinners, right? Still comedy over action. So, by the time they made My Lucky Stars, they've made Project A and they made Wuhan Meal. So you can see Jackie maturing both as an actor and also in how he wanted to portray himself as a character in the film. So he's more serious in My Lucky Stars, with only the only comedic moment in that film was him, dressing up as the anime character, But by Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars, now looking back, I realize that's the same character Chen Ga-koi in Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars as the same guy in Police Story. So the Jackie Chan in Twinkle Twinkle is more like serve as a warm up for Police Story. He's trying to shape his own character in preparation for Police Story, and of course, when he was making Twinkle Twinkle, he's probably in preparation for Police Story, because Police Story came out 6 months after Twinkle Twinkle. So to me, Police Story represents the pinnacle of his, career, both as an actor, in terms of a characterization, and also as as a stunt person. Like the opening sequence, jaw dropping. The final, the mall fight is like one incredible move after another. And I think also because for someone like me who grew up in Hong Kong, being able to having been to all those places where he shot the film, the shopping mall. I used to go to that mall all the time. Like Bill Tong, all these different characters. Lan Kwa Hong, the guy who plays Superior. Bill Tong. They were all in TV series. As a kid, we watched them in TV series. So there's this familiarity with them playing all these characters. So it almost feels like you're watching someone that you've been knowing all your life. In peril, in danger, what have you. And just the nerve to throw Bridget Lin 2 stories into a swimming pool. I mean, who dares to do that?
Wait, that was her?
Yeah.
Wait,
that was her.
That was her.
That was her. No, that was her.
Oh my God.
The gut. I mean, like the nerve to be able to persuade Bridget Lin to do that. That's amazing. But still, like going back, I know there's comedy in there. Some people may not like the comedy, and then also in the middle part, it kind of lags a little with the courtroom procedure with a little bit of police work. But like we mentioned before, that scene with them having Bridget Lin coming in, not asking her any questions, I thought that was really smart. That was a smart way to seek out in her attorney and stuff. So even though those scenes may not have a lot of action, they do move the plot forward. But you have that whole incredible, like Samurai said, that opening sequence alone could have been a great action finale, but that's just the beginning. And then to have these, Kyle mentioned that stunt of him falling down the clock tower, but he could have been electrocuted with that leap from the in the light, with the pole of the light. Yeah, he could have been electrocuted right on the spot. He could have died right on the spot. Yeah. And to me, that's taller. I think that's taller than a clock tower. That's at least 4 or 5 stories high. So you can tell him really risking his life just to make this film works, and to have all these creative ways of not killing off the character, but defeating his enemy in the shopping mall. They're all different, right? The way he defeated them are all different, and then leading to that wonderful finale. My light got excited again. So that wonderful finale where he finally beat that attorney guy, in the stomach, in the Japanese cut. At the end, after capturing Cho Yun, the bad guy, the attorney, the bad mouthing attorney, finally hit him in the guts. It's like the whole field just cheered. I just didn't remember that.
Love it.
So you're more involved in this film, I think, than when you're watching a period film, right? Because period film kind of takes you out a little bit. You feel a little bit distant because that's not where you were, and that's not your era. But watching this modern action film, where like for someone like me who's been to all those places, who's seen all these characters, all these actors playing other stuff in TV, so you feel like you know them already. So to see them, in this wonderful, action drama thriller is just very exciting. And like I said, I still think that final mall, the whole mall sequence, is still one of the best things that Jackie has ever done, and still hardly surpassed.
No question.
Question.
So is it voting time?
Oh,
It sounded like you said you had a question.
yeah. I thought you
Rick.
said you have a
I
question.
thought you said quick question, so we're all
Yeah.
waiting.
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
said quick
that's what it
question.
sounded like you said.
What I said was no question.
Oh,
Ah.
okay. We're all waiting. Okay.
No question.
All right.
You're right.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Two badass films. Let's go ahead and get it going. Let's get the voting going here. Leave me for last because I'm the host and it's fun.
All right. All
Police
right.
Story or Project A, baby?
Now, I've got to really think about it. I've got to vote for Project A, Rick. Rick, vote for Project A. Dragon Mom, please don't try to do that to me. I have to make my own decision, okay? Okay. Rick, vote for Police Story, Rick, vote for Police Story. Well, wait a minute. Why are you telling me to vote for a Police Story? Aren't you supposed to be telling me to vote for Police Story? You're supposed to be telling me to vote for Project A. Oh, yeah, that's right. Vote for Project A, Rick. Vote for Police Story, Rick. Well, I'll tell you guys. Jackie, old Jackie, period Jackie, I didn't grow up like Frank, seeing all your guys. I grew up with Batman and Dirty Harry and Clint Eastwood and all that stuff. And modern day Jackie, those were really great fight scenes, but the comedy didn't quite pan out. There was more structure back in the old days, so I'm afraid, Dragon, that I'm going to have to go with classic Jackie and vote for Project A.
Wow. You got me there. You had me there. Wow. Interesting. Wow. Look at that. All right. Awesome. You know what?
It ages better. It ages better than Police Story.
Yeah.
It does.
Wow, look at that! I'm surprised. That's awesome, though. This is one of those. This is one of those verses where it's like if somebody argues, "Oh, Project A is better," I'm like, I'm not going to say you're wrong because Project A is awesome.
Stop fighting, you guys! Stop fighting!
Stop fighting! It's another Twin Dragons reference.
I know.
There you go. Eric, time to vote, buddy. Let's do it.
If you would have asked me this question a year ago, I would have said Project A. And I said tonight, I had no problems really with Project A, and I had a few problems with Police Story.
Yeah.
But after rewatching them again, that soft half hour in Police Story bothered me less this time for some reason. The only scene in the movie I don't like is the telephone scene, and that's only a few minutes long. But I think the highs of Police Story are higher than Project A. So I think by a little bit, I'm going Police Story.
All right, this is getting interesting. Interesting. All right, Kyle, Max Payne.
We know what Frank's going for. What are you going to do?
I'll go with Mortal Kombat 95.
That's Rick's favorite movie. That's Rick's favorite movie of the year.
Just disappointing.
Yeah.
Go
all I remember was like I saw the message after last week's verses, and I'm like, I want to be a part of this, and I was just like, this is gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Like from when we were talking about Bruce Lee's Fists of Fury to Jet Li's Fist of Legend, that one was hard, and then when we got to Dread or the Raid, and that one was hard, and I'm going,
yeah.
How do you choose between two Jackie Chan films? And watching them now, and watching them back to back, I was like, these two really set the bar of this, literally ended this, like set the bar of the 80s and 90s action, Hong Kong action. I'm saying 80s and 90s Hong Kong action, not Hollywood, just Hong Kong action, because it's like, and looking at them both, I'm going, how did Jackie get to this point? And again, like as everyone has said, like Police Story has so much to offer and influenced and has been homaged and referenced on many Hollywood films, but no one realizes that Project A really has this like stable storyline, and just as Frank and I said, like, and Rick has said, like, Rick and Frank has said, like, that this is the first time we've seen them on screen all together, sharing the same screen, that Sammo and Yen Bu and Jackie all together, peaking opera, and just all of them culminating to making this happen. And I am gonna say it is Project A for me.
Oh, wow.
This is
All
gonna
right.
be interesting now,
All
babe.
right.
This is getting interesting now.
All right.
Oh,
All
man.
right.
Hey, you know, you want to know how good these movies are. Jackie himself was never able to top them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that. It's
Yeah. This is awesome. This is interesting. I love it when it goes like this. All right, Frank.
Well, you know, sometimes the sequel is better than the first film. You have films where, like, you know, the sequel somehow surpassed the first film. You have, you know, Empire Strikes Back being, you know, to many, Empire Strikes Back is better than Star Wars. Godfather
Yes.
2 is better than Godfather 1.
Very rare. Very
Godzilla
rare.
vs. Kong is better than all 3 previous Godzilla movies.
Very
It's
rare.
true.
Yeah.
So I have to be honest with you. Had this been before, I have to tell you a funny story. So when Rick first told me that, oh, you know, Fat Samurai wanted me to do this episode of Versus, I said, oh, I haven't seen the film, because I thought when you meant Versus, I thought you want me to talk about Versus, the Japanese zombie slasher, you know, action film. So it took me a while to get it, but so okay, so that, I thought that was the thing. So anyway, going back to the sequel stuff, had this been a Versus of Project A2 versus Police Story, it would have been a very difficult choice for me. Because,
Really?
yes, I honestly felt Project A2 was better than Project A in terms of the overall action choreography and also what he did in the film. You know, let me explain. I mean, I know some of you guys like the
I'm
fact
just
that
looking at Rick this whole
right.
time. Rick's gonna have an aneurysm.
Right. You had the first Project A, you had the brothers, you had Big Y, great fight scene and stuff. But in Project A2, you have such wonderful, defining stunt, like him running across that bamboo pole. That's dangerous stuff. And at the end, with that whole facade falling down on him.
Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, I didn't feel that his life was in danger as much in Project A as I felt in Police Story or Project A2. Yes, that clock tower stunt dangerous. Yes, but like Kyle said, there was. I mean, at the very least, there was padding at the bottom. You know, there's all these precautions taken. But like in Police Story, you know, with him, you know, with the umbrella on the bus, climbing on the window, you know, and then the leap from the shopping mall thing. You worry for him. You know, when you're watching it, you worry for him. You know that he gave it his all. It's almost like you felt like Jackie said, if I die making this film, I would have no regrets. And for that alone, I honestly feel that, you know, Police Story is the better film. So my vote.
All right.
Samurai Guy, man.
That's
it, baby. What you got?
Tiebreaker.
I just want to comment on that, which is, for me, Project A2 is the first of his 2 sequels that are actually 2 one-hour movies put together. Police Story 2 was the same thing. And also is when he started, because after his accident, he stopped defeating his opponents, and he would just dump them off screen. In this case, he dumped somebody right on screen. You know, he set the guy across on that little cart, and the guy fell down, and that's what he was doing. So it didn't have the same cohesiveness. But another great thing about Project A2, just for at one point, Jackie has to talk to revolutionaries during Project A2, and if you listen to that speech, you'll notice that it's essentially the exact same thing he said to the Hong Kong students during the demonstrations. The thing that he was basically kicked out of Hong Kong for. He lost all his fans in Hong Kong but all he said was pretty much the exact same thing he says to the revolutionaries in Project A2. But that's the difference between fantasy and reality. And the final point is that some people, Frank, judge Jackie Chan movies on the basis of the 5-star system. You essentially are judging them on the 5 broken bone system. No broken bones in this one, and I worried about him more, so therefore it's the better film.
It works.
Either way, it's fine. They're both awesome films. But now, tiebreaker.
All right, it's time for
Wow, you can scare the light.
Break the tie. I scared the light. All right.
Don't go into the light,
All right,
Frank.
here we
Don't
go.
Hey, my wife wouldn't let
Don't
me
go into the
light.
light. Max Payne is not. All right, so midway through Police Story, I was like, man, am I going to choose Project A over this? What the hell are we doing with these phones and what's going on? And I was kind of struggling going back and forth with both of them. So, it's time to vote. It's time for Samurai Guy to break the tie for Versus episode 13. I have made my decision. Is it going to be Glass Story? Or is it going to be And a Slice of Pie? Here we go, baby.
Yay.
All right.
Great choice.
Yes.
Great choice.
Actually, I'm going to change my vote. I'm voting for Police Story 2013. That's what I'm voting for.
Interesting choice.
This was really hard. This was like insanely hard. Because Project A is like one of the best adventure films. Forget about just action. It's a fun adventure movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a fun fact, here's what the Movie Dojo Army voted for just for fun.
Ooh.
Wow. Damn.
There you go.
Obliteration.
But yeah, there you go. Police Story wins this episode of Versus. And it was ridiculously, insanely tough to get through it. But I had a blast hanging out with all these legends today, especially for Frank, first time joining us on the channel. Frank, you make this your second home, just like Rick has. Come anytime you want to talk about movies. You got any upcoming commentaries coming out? Come on the channel. We will plug it. We'll talk about the movie you're doing audio commentaries for. Chat, thank all of you badasses for watching, liking the video, and sharing. Make sure you follow Rick, follow his podcast, subscribe to Asian Movie Enthusiasts. Keep an eye out for Kyle's upcoming work, Night Watch. That's right.
$3.99.
$3.99.
Are you out of your mind?
It is the Bible, Rick's
$3.99.
Bible.
Are you out of your mind?
That's right.
Wow.
Hey,
That's
marketing right there.
Right?
That's right. Buy all of Rick's books and buy all of the Blu-rays that Frank is a part of, Frank J. That's right.
Thank
You will learn so much. You will become smarter within
And
the
be
realm
entertained.
of badassity.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. Oh, hold on a second. Wait a minute. I forgot about next Thursday's announcement. Oh yeah, baby. We got it. We're on a roll recently. Rick's been suggesting some awesome ones. That's right. Hold on one second. I thought I had it queued up here, but fuck it, I don't have it queued up. All right, never mind. Next week, Frank, you're always welcome if you're free. I know you're busy. And Kyle and Eric, you're welcome as well. But next week, it is the Battle of the Wing Chun Masters.
Ooh.
The Prodigal Son versus Ip Man. The very first one. That's right, baby. That's going to be tough because I enjoyed both films. I have an idea who the winner is. Or at least for me, what I'm picking for. But both of these movies I love. So
We also mentioned that one of our guests that evening will be one of the greatest Wing Chun teachers in the world, Alex Rick, an awesome guy. He will be here, and it doesn't matter what any of us say. I just want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I'm really interested. Yeah. Authentic Wing Chun Master Alex Richter will be with us next Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And if everything works out, because I know he's this other badass person, martial arts, real fighter, real actor. He's the bee's knees. If it works out tomorrow, we will have at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure you guys show up again. Kung Le. That's right. The badassity that is Kung Le. Master Le will be here hanging out with us in Movie Dojo Army tomorrow if everything works out, because I know these guys are extremely busy. So. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Frank, don't forget, hit me up anytime. Use the platform. Come on back here. We'll talk movies because we love talking about what we love, which is action cinema martial arts films and all that good stuff. And maybe we'll get some more horror themed. And we're going to talk after we're done here. Rick had some other ideas. Maybe get some horror movies, some sci-fi going versus. This was a lot of fun today. And we'd like to thank all you badasses for watching. See you guys next time. See you guys tomorrow. And don't forget, like Frank said, let the force be with you.
Peace.